Hey, ladies and gents, it's Zem back, and we are doing the historical tank thingy. It's usually where I just pick a historical tank that actually fought in World War II and kind of go over it a little bit here. So we have the infamous Hellcat. It's honestly, this is the M18 Hellcat when it first came out. 4 years ago, maybe. I think that's what it was an utter beast. And then Wargaming happened, and it was a goddamn Greek tragedy what they did to this tank. It was so good. Unfortunately, it's still a pretty decent tank destroyer. It just doesn't have the mobility and the turn traverse and all that kind of stuff that it used to have. But for the most part, you can still make it work. Historically, the tank destroyer force, the combined arms of the U.S. military, they came up with the concept of tank destroyers. Like I said, it was called the TDF, the Tank Destroyer Force, in 1941. What they wanted was a lightly skinned tank with a gun big enough to handle or being able to kill other tanks. With the lightly skinned tank, it was going to rely on its speed and maneuverability instead of armor to deal with the German tanks. So this was 1941. They put out a requirement for this new concept. Of course, at the time, there's the M10s, the Shermans, and all that kind of stuff were a little more heavily armored than the concept they were looking for here. So in 1941, they started on the process of the Hellcat, the design process of it, and it went through a number of different changes with this tank. The very first prototypes of this had a 57mm British gun. Then it moved eventually on to the 75mm gun from the Sherman tank, and then eventually, of course, it got not the 90mm, but the 76mm gun, historical gun. And you can see here in the stats here, you could pick up a 76mm gun. This was the historical gun. The 90mm, however, was something that was added after. I think there was only one pilot of it built. What it was the Hellcat chassis with the M36 turret on it. Yeah, so it had this turret with the 90mm on it for the Hellcat. But there was only one of those prototypes ever built. So by 1943, they had ironed this out. It had a 76mm gun and at a road speed in excess of 50 miles an hour, which is interesting because it was hardly ever utilized in combat, its top speed. The only time it was ever really utilized was, in fact, at the Battle of the Bulge, where the TDF, or a tank destroyer force, was used to capture key crossroads, fuel dumps, and whatnot. That actually kind of stalled the German push, and that was kind of part of the problem with the tank destroyer force and its doctrine. Especially in Europe, it had problems. These tanks were supposed to be used to stop breakouts, specifically the Blitzkrieg style of warfare. It didn't work so hot in Europe. A lot of the times they got a little too carried away with it, and they've run into lots of self-propelled guns, lots of towed anti-tank pieces, so that doctrine didn't quite work out so hot for them in Europe. But for the most part, with even with the 76mm, they had the PZ4s they could pen no problem. Panthers were a different story, unless they had HVAP rounds. They could not penetrate a Panther, let alone a Tiger, unless they could get to the side of the tank. And that kind of where where the speed of this thing come into play. They were able to get with the slow traverse of the German tanks, at least the turret-wise. They were able to get the size and, of course, put shells into them. It did have the highest kill-to-death ratio in Europe at 2.3 to 1. So it was somewhat successful. I mean, as a tank destroyer, it didn't come about. So I said about 1943 is when they first went into production, and it was only produced for 1 year, essentially till 1944, and about 2,500 of them were made. The Lend-Lease wise, it didn't actually get used by the Soviets or the British. They didn't find it useful for anything, so it was entirely used by the Americans. For the most part, with its thin armor, it was used kind of interesting. I did find out one of the more interesting things about the tank was we always think this is a tank destroyer. A lot of times this tank was used in improvised roles, specifically for direct fire support for infantry, which I kind of find interesting. You always hear about Hellcats, like they're running around the battlefield blowing up Tigers. Well, for the most part, these supported infantry units, which I thought was kind of odd, but hey, reality is reality, right? Yeah, interesting tank. By the end of end of the war, they'd wanted about almost 9,000 of these tanks. They only built 2,500. Like I said, by 1944 they had stopped production on this tank. There was, like I said, a couple notable battles where they did face off against Panthers and whatnot, and they did do fairly well. Of course, from the ambush position, they were able to get side shots, and in one case, I do believe they killed something over 20-some tanks. Some people claim they were Tigers. Some claim they were Panthers. Kind of hit and miss on the actual historical part of that, but hey, it's history, right? After the war, it was kind of bandied around. Allies, the Yugoslavia got some, Venezuela got some. In fact, Venezuela still had 75 of these in reserve. Yugoslavia, I think, was still using them all the way up until 1991. The Chinese used them until the hulls wore out, and they were the turret was moved over to the, which would become which we actually have in game, as a light tank for the Chinese, the Type 64. You can see the turret right here. Yeah, that's essentially what this is the M18 Hellcat's turret on top of I believe this is a Duster chassis, anti-aircraft chassis. So yeah, this was, like I said, kind of interesting that they were used this late or that many years after World War II. And like I said, Venezuela still has, I believe, 75 of these in reserve. So what do we get in game? Well, 240 average damage, 160 average pen, 8.37 rate of fire, 7.17 reload time. Yeah, it's not the best, really, honestly. Tier 6s, or not, there's other tier 6s that have way better firepower than this. I think it's some of the Germans, the Nashorn and the Panzer IV, with a little bit over 5, with about the same amount of damage. So yeah, it does suffer a little bit there. Gun depression of 10 degrees, awful nice. 1.59 aim time and 0.3 dispersion, which is bullshit, because I don't think that's what that is. It's more like 0.38 to me, it seems like. 2008 average damage per minute, 570 hit points. Yeah, hull armor, 12, 12, 12, 12. Don't get hit by anything. KV2s love your ass. Artillery loves your ass. HE loves your ass. Everything pins this thing. Occasionally you might get a fucking weird bounce off the front, but that's about it. But for the most part, yeah, play it as the typical TD role. Mobility, 21.8 tons with 460 horsepower, 22.32 specific horsepower to ton, 72 top speed, and 32.85 traverse speed. Sorry. What is kind of shitty is this right here, the turret traverse speed. I didn't even think about that. Is 17 degrees a second, which is unbelievably slow. And you just have to fucking deal with it. Concealment, excellent on this tank. I run camouflage net, binocs, and rammer. Of course, this is open top. That was actually something interesting when they were talking about in this tank. One of the major complaints about this tank during World War II, since it did have a radial engine in it with the open top, this radial engine had a lot of times blowing cold air into the interior of the tank. And they were never able to even really seal this off on the top very well. So this was one of the major complaints about this tank, was extremely how uncomfortable this thing was to use. Go figure. 498 view range with the binocs loaded, 800 signal range. One of the weird stories I did find out about this tank, is that they're always like, how fast it was. But there was a story, and I don't know, let's see if I can find it, but at one time, apparently, there was a placard or a sticker that was above the driver's seat that said, do not exceed 70 miles an hour in this tank, or it would become unstable. Now, I don't know if it was true, or if that was just stories or whatever, but yeah, if this thing could actually do 70 miles an hour, that would have been pretty fucking awesome. So, I'm going to bring up the gameplay for you guys. Check out the M18 Hellcat. Hey, ladies and gents, back with a replay with the Hellcat. We're on mines. We got Poison. We got Catechus. Yeah, I know, right? Cat in a tank. He's running the D3485M, and Poison is trying to get through his P43 BIS, which we were doing today, was grinding out the P43 BIS with him. So I'm running my Hellcat, and this is kind of what started out with the video today. We had run quite a few games today, and I think we were probably shooting about 80% win rate today, so it wasn't too bad. Hellcat, once again, it was a Greek tragedy the way this thing got nerfed, but it still has a pretty decent forward speed, and you just heard exactly what I'm doing here, other than T3485M, and of course Poison is in the P43 BIS, who apparently is slow as fuck. Up the hill we go, got the 2801, AMX 1375, chickens out. Well, you can't be a chicken in this game, you have to get up the hill. MT25 takes a pot shot at me, I fucking auto aim him, can't quite get him. MT25 takes it in the rear. He dead. He real dead. 2801, he's just kind of hanging out there. So now I'm up on the hill, which is where I want to be. They didn't really contest it, which is surprisingly how that worked. Try to hear backups here. I'm not spotted yet. I'm using my camouflage. Decent camo on this thing. Could be better, I guess. Looking for that KV85. Where'd you go, you little prick? Can't pick him up here, so we're just going to pull over here until we see if we find him. Ah, there he is. First one in the side of him, 262. Oh, yeah. So he backs up and put another shell onto him. He has no idea where I'm at. Well, I'm sure he does know where I'm at. Just he can't see me. Oh, wow. He gets wrecked. So, not getting a whole lot of over there. Not going to stick my nose over there, so we're just going to work on these guys here. Pick up the KV85. Oh, can't get one in there. Pick him up here. Yeah, he's, like I said, with the camo on this, I'm behind the thing. He doesn't have much chance of actually spotting me. Pick up the side of his turret for 197. Oh, he's just a one shot now. Come on. Can't do it. He wises up and goes the other direction here. Pull over here. Ooh. Back of the P40. 3 Terra, nail him. Well, now what do I got? Oh, Cromwell. Always like to see those. Finish him off. And the M48, or the E2 sitting there looking at me. That's alright. We'll put one shell into you too, buddy, for 259. And I'm not going to give him a whole bunch because he's just blind firing here. He still hasn't really spotted me yet. Not now. Pick up the KV85. And the E2 is still sitting there, and you never know about E2s. I run into one today that just happened to have the fucking 105. Really, nobody runs a 105 on an E2. Are you crazy, man? So pull back over here, pick up the P43 Terra. Oh, I don't understand why that one didn't go. What are you gonna do? So pull back over here. Come on, what are you doing? I'm kind of hoping here that he's gonna pull out here, but Poison's all over his shit. From the backside, what is he going to do? Ooh, nails him. Damn, SU-100 M1's got him. So, 4 tanks left. Yep, there was 2 E25s in the platoon. You know how fun those are. We're going to pull over here and see if we can help out the 3001. Pick up the first shot, 265. Kind of hoping the guy was going to stick around, but nope. See if he can put a shot into him. Puts you up to 2161. Okay, Jackson, what are you going to do? Looking. And I'm almost through my regular supply of regular AP rounds with 3 tanks left. So, what are we going to do? Everybody's hiding. Put a shot out there for just, fuck's sake, because you never know. It's the one thing I always hated about the nerf to the TD's view range. Yeah, it should be open top TDs, should have excellent view range, but they don't. So, we got these 3 over here, and we got the Jackson there. Poison's pushing. Looks like Cad's got that bush well taken care of. It's not going anywhere. He's just sitting there waiting for something to shoot at. And, okay, so I'm going to wait here and see what happens. Poison's pushing up here. We're going to push around here and see what we're going to do. Come on, boy. Backs up here. Puts a nice shot in the Jackson. And, oh, he got denied by the Jackson. All right, what are you going to do, Jackson? T-29's pushing in here. T-29 finishes him off. Sitting at about 24-43 right now. Ooh, doggy. Hellcat, what are you doing? He's still kind of an unusual position for... I mean, at one time that was a pretty decent idea, but doesn't work that way. Picks up the Hellcat, finishes him off 25-27. And let's see here. Can I pick up the E25? Nope, didn't get the E25. Yeah, 2 kills and about 25-27. I don't remember, but I think I actually had 1 blind shot. But I don't know. I don't remember. Anyway, still like the Hellcat. Still got great, decent, maybe maneuverability, and of course the 90mm. So thanks for watching, guys. Alright guys, back with the second replay in the Hellcat. Once again, still platooning with these 2 cats, Poison and Cad. There was a little discussion in the Discord about what we're gonna do here. Well, Poison goes, Cad, follow me. And I'm like, you guys are gonna get fucking wrecked. Because they're gonna do the old 1-2 push, and away they go. Now I can see if you're like fast, but those tanks are notoriously fast either, and also the fact that this is a tier 8 battle. So I'm going to play this tank in the more traditional tank destroyer role than I did in the last video, where I was a little bit more aggressive. Like I said, tier 8 battle, so not quite as aggressive in this one. So pull up, find myself a nice bush here. Pick up the Firefly coming through here, drop back, and of course I got spotted for it, but there's no artillery, so I don't feel quite as bad. Scorpion G comes over and decimates the Firefly, and just waiting myself to advantage. However, both of them cats, at least one of them made it all the way to the corner, and yeah, this should be interesting. So pull over here. I'm looking to see if I can pick up something, and pop up the binocs. Now picks up the T-43, T-34 100, and I thought, well, maybe I should fire, maybe I shouldn't fire. Fuck it, I'm gonna fire. Put a shell into him for 225. I don't get spotted out of the deal. Surprise, surprise. I didn't realize his view range was probably that spectacularly shitty. The Yag Panther, he got spotted, and he is getting fucking wrecked from the hill. Yeah, so like I said, playing this a little bit more like the typical TD should be played. Excuse me. Which of course is hiding in a bush, looking for targets here. So pop over here. We got the T-26E4. He is playing sniper. I'm not terribly sure why. It is what it is. So I'm going to move up here next to the Scorpion, see what we can do up here with the vision that we currently will be seeing here with the T-26E4. E4 moves over and says, I'm going to go wreck the 5916. Pick up the Skoda. Oh, puts a nice shell into him. And he's running back. I don't have much of a shot. Can't quite finish him. Don't get a shot on the 34-100. T-26 has moved. It's getting wrecked left and right from all over the place here. As you can see, the slow turn speed of this tank, it just fucking sucks. Like I said, it was a Greek tragedy. what they did to this tank. So I'm going to hang out here. I'm going to see what the T-26 is going to pull out. And he's getting pretty ballsy as far as I'm concerned. It is a 4-2 game right now. And like I said, with Poison and Cad down there in the corner down there, they've kind of drawn a little bit of attention to themselves. They got Panther, M10, T-28, Hellcat, and a Steyr. Go figure. Pick up the T-34 100 again, up to 1,000 spotting already. So yeah, it's amazing what you can do with all that view range at 480 plus. Pick up the Churchill, put a shell into him, put me up just about 1,000 right now. The gun was acting quite well this game for some fucking reason. Typically I don't quite get that good of accuracy with this thing, but it worked out. See if I can get one more shell into him. Oh, hit the dirt. And that's about the time he decides to come up. Oh, damn it, so close. The Hellcat, no, I'm sorry, the Scorpion G I thought was going to nail him, but apparently it missed him too as well. But he's getting wrecked from somebody on top of the hill. Yeah, oh, there he goes. Looking, still nothing. T-26 C4 has moved up. Hill's kind of nothing poking over, so they're all bunched up on the far corner. And now it's time to get a little bit more aggressive. Once again, with the speed of this tank, you're able to do this here. So I'm going to get real aggressive here. I've counted tanks. The only thing we're missing right now is a Steyr. And he probably is still staying out of base. Everything else has been accounted for, except for the IKV, I do believe. So down we go. I'm going to see if I can pick up the M4. Ooh, show me your rear. Put a nice shell into him for 215. Oh, is he going to back up again? Probably not. I thought those guys were going to start pushing down the hill, but they didn't. Oh, and I bounced one off of him. He takes my engine out. Not good. So I'm backing off. I don't need to get shot by that guy again. I'm trying to get over, help Poison out. He's getting pushed by a ton of tanks. So back up in here and see if I can pick up the M4. Come on, back up, buddy. Never mind. He doesn't look like he's going to enjoy this. Nope. T-26 kills him. And now I got some shots here. It looks like back around the corner here. Get spotted. Oh fuck! I hit the armor on the side of the Dicker Max. That's ridiculous. There's no point that Dicker Max ever should bounce his shot. The wood pilings take the rounds. Let's see here. Where are you at, Dicker Max? Let's see if I can get one to go through the fucking wood. Really? Nothing. About 1,100 spotted so far. It's 1,200 damage. And trying to help these guys out because they, like I said, they are getting pushed pretty hard by the Tier 8 TD. Good camo value on this tank. Cannot complain. Catechus got 7%. Go figure. So I'm going to pull up in here. There we go. Now we're looking. Still can't get the Hellcat. Where's the T-28? There we go. Now we got him. So find my first shot. I'm double bushed here. Pick up the first shot on the prototype. Ooh, there we are. Come on, buddy. Aim for the track. Get him right in the idler. Put him in the hurt position. I got one more shell. Come on. Oh, get the 1,871 spotting, 1,664 damage. Not too bad a game for a Tier 8 match. So thanks for watching, guys, and have a good night.